Main event, Erin Blanchfield will be taking on Jessica Andrade on short notice. Jessica Andrade, well, I might have said that backwards. Jessica Andrade taking this fight on short notice. Originally scheduled to be Taylor Santos and Erin Blanchfield. Instead, it is now Andrade. I don't know. I haven't decided if I like this fight more or less
Mhm.
due to the circumstances. But Dominic, Jessica Andrade, probably my favorite fighter in all the women's divisions. Erin Blanchfield, my favorite prospect in all of the women's divisions. This
Mm.
is a hard fight for me. I'll be completely frank. And the odds tell an interesting story here. Andrade is still a favorite. She's minus 125, but those odds have been closing rapidly.
Mhm.
Blanchfield opened as a much heavier underdog, closer to plus 200, that has gotten all the way down to where she is even money right now.
Mhm.
The fact that Andrade is a favorite, some people may be surprised by just because you take into account the short notice of taking this fight, maybe some of Erin Blanchfield's perceived advantages in the grappling. But Dominic, I want you to explain to the people, why is Jessica Andrade still a favorite considering all that I just said?
Because it's Jessica Andrade at the end of the day, Noah. That's the biggest
Enough
thing. I
said.
mean,
Enough
yeah,
said.
this is someone that will fight anyone, anywhere, any weight class. It does not matter. She's got wins in 3 different weight classes. She's challenged for a title in this weight class. She's won a title at 115 pounds. She's number 3 at the end of the day in this division. The great quote that Noah says from time to time is that Jessica Andrade might be the second best fighter in 2 different divisions. And golly, sometimes I think it's even 3 with the way bantamweight is some these days. But yeah, that is exactly why. You look at the experience of Andrade, the level of competition of Andrade. It's hard to make her an underdog against anyone she fights unless it's someone like Valentina Shevchenko. Let's just be honest here. So I like this fight a lot. It's still a huge opportunity for Erin Blanchfield. She's going from, someone who was ranked higher and Taylor Santos being number 1, had a very razor close fight with Valentina. But I almost feel like the win over Jessica Andrade still does a little bit more in the grand scheme of things for her name value and where she really stands as a title contender. So this is an awesome fight. It's an awesome opportunity for Erin. Shout out to both ladies for taking this fight, because obviously Andrade is doing this on 7 days' notice. Erin had to, of course, say yes to still do the fight. So it's awesome. I'm very intrigued by the X's and O's too, but in terms of the storylines there and why these odds are the way they are, I don't think you can really put it any other way, my friend. And I know you probably feel the same in terms of Andrade.
No, yeah, I mostly agree with everything you just said right there, Dom. I think Erin Blanchfield's looked amazing through her first few UFC bouts, but truthfully, this is a huge jump for her. It was a big
Yeah.
jump with Taylor Santos. It's arguably just as big, if not bigger, with
Mhm.
Jessica Andrade. And I think stylistically, Jessica Andrade is a tougher fight for Blanchfield than Taylor Santos. And that some people may disagree with me on that. That's not to say that Taylor Santos is some cakewalk. I think they are equally big of a challenge, but Jessica Andrade has a big equalizer that Taylor doesn't necessarily go to, and
Mhm.
Erin Blanchfield has shown a weakness to in her past UFC fights. That being the knockout power. The her striking is just electric. It's very
Mhm.
good. She ambushes her opponents. She's very technical, but also just comes in with brute force and aggression. Erin Blanchfield has not been knocked out, but Dominic, I think back to her fight with JJ Aldrich, where Aldrich was getting the better of her in some of the stand up exchanges. Erin, of course, found a way to win,
Mhm.
looked really good doing it, but it's at least made me question, you know, because we haven't seen a ton of it since then. The early stages of that Molly McCann fight, I saw a lot of improvement.
Mhm.
Actually, Erin outstruck Molly
Yeah.
McCann for even though it was still not a ton to
Right.
go off of. But this is again a bigger jump in that direction. If Aaron Blanchfield can take down Andrade, think to like the way Valentina did when
Mhm.
Andrade fought for the title, I think you'll see a lot of similarities
Yeah.
in the ground and how Valentina was able to dominate Andrade on the ground. I think Blanchfield would do very similar things if she can get it there. But Dominic,
Mm,
what's so interesting is because we all kind of assume, even when I've talked about Andrade in the past, I talk about her like she lacks a ground game.
hmm.
But really think of who in her career has
Yeah.
been able to take her down, hold her there, and dominate her. It's
Right.
Valentina Shevchenko, and I think the list kind of ends there.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's been outstruck by Rose Namajunas. I think Tisha Torres might have taken her down in their fight, but Jessica Andrade landed like 9 takedowns of her own.
Hmm.
If you go to bantamweight, maybe you'd find more evidence of
Yeah.
that. But in terms of her time going back and forth between flyweight and strawweight, Dominic, she's the bully. She does
Yeah.
not get bullied,
Yeah.
except for, of course, fighting one of the best women's fighters of all time and the champion. So Erin Blanchfield is able to do that, and clear that is what Erin Blanchfield will have to do to win this fight. Then I think this cements that Erin Blanchfield is in a special class in this division. And Dominic, if she does that, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when she
Yeah.
becomes the UFC champion. But
Yeah.
again, I'm truthfully, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm buying into it. I believe Erin Blanchfield's going to win this fight, but that's a lot of projection. It's a lot
Mm,
of expectations.
mm,
The resume is not given us the proof that she's capable of that. But I have a belief in her skill set. The dominance she's shown to the opponents she has gotten tells me that she's ready for this, that she is an inevitability at the top of this weight class. And I think she gets it done. But it's crazy to say because what it would require literally makes her, I mean, she's only 23 years old. That would make her just a
yeah.
all
Yeah.
around special fighter, a once in a lifetime type talent in the women's divisions. Am I overstepping in my kind of projection for Erin Blanchfield? Do you think I'm getting a little too ahead of myself when her best win up to this point is a Molly McCann?
No, I think she's earned it, right? I mean, this is someone that's 4-0 in the UFC. She's taken steps up with each of those fights. Honestly, still, I think the best win on her record is still Miranda Maverick, if you ask me, even over,
Well,
JJ Aldrich
that's
and
yeah,
Molly
that's probably
McCann.
true.
And she dominated Miranda
Mhm.
Maverick. I did not see that type of performance coming at all. So when she was able to do that, and then obviously she just shut down the hype and the momentum that Molly had, she's just been able to take out these different types of scenarios and storms she's been faced with so far. But now we're going from the 3 foot into the pool to the diving board, 10 feet deep in, no floaties or nothing with Jessica Andrade. If she can win this fight, it is a matter of not if, but when. I truly believe that. But I have to wait. And I'm not disrespecting you for saying it because I love that you did. I'm going to have to wait and see. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll just need to see a couple of minutes here in this Andrade fight. Maybe it won't even have to be the entirety of the fight. Maybe it won't even have to be a win. But if she can stay competitive with Andrade, that tells me so much. Because let's be honest here, Noah, these past few years with Andrade, people don't even stay competitive with her unless it's Valentina Shevchenko. She ran through Caitlin Chukagian. She ran through Calvillo. She ran through Amanda Lemos with the first ever standing arm triangle in the history of the women's division. Lauren Murphy,
Oof.
she dismantled Lauren Murphy. That was an absolutely
Dom,
lethal
Dom, that was
performance.
a month ago. That was a month ago. Like
Yes.
how can I be so confident in Blanchfield when the best performance that Andrade has had maybe ever
Yeah.
just happened 30 fucking days ago? I don't
That's
know. I don't know what spell
yeah.
Blanchfield has put on me to believe in her this much. And you're right, Random Maverick is the best win on her resume, especially when you look at
Hmm.
how she did it.
Yeah.
Blanchfield, I knew of her coming into
Right.
the UFC. She was an Invicta product, I believe. Had a lot of potential, a lot of hype right away. She
Hmm.
was looked at as like the biggest woman's prospect when she came in. But Miranda Maverick had already established herself as a
Yeah.
really big prospect and had done it with the wrestling, with the grappling.
Yeah.
And for Blanchfield to go in there and utterly destroy her in
Yeah.
that method,
Yeah. That was
You're right.
crazy.
I kind of overlooked that one when I was thinking. I was thinking of her most recent fights,
Yeah,
and
of course.
but Molly McCann, of course, due to the hype and a lot of the noise going
Yeah.
in, that was in New York, a lot of Barstool people at the fight, and Molly McCann being with them. Erin Blanchfield from that area was
Hmm.
booed
Yeah.
walking into the cage. So
Yeah.
a lot of pressure there. It was a pressure cooker, and she passed that test in flying colors and
Exactly.
silenced the crowd after doing so. Actually
Yes.
gave a little like that was
Hmm.
easy,
Yeah.
So I'm all in on her, but I fully admit this could look pretty bad come Monday if because Andrade, I fully can picture Andrade going in there and getting a first round TKO.
Yeah,
I
because
see it.
you can picture that with anybody she fights.
Well,
That's
yeah,
Andrade. That's the
yeah.
thing.
That's why I think this main event is really good, guys. Like if
Yeah.
nothing else, I understand the rest of this undercard is weak. It's just weak. But this main event, I've advocated for it when it was Taylor Santos.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if I prefer it now with Andrade or whatever in terms of a fight, but I'm so happy to see these two in this spot. Obviously, Andrade has been here, done that.
Yeah.
I hope Taylor Santos gets a main event in her next fight.
Yeah.
But Erin Blanchfield, I think, is deserving of this opportunity, even as the number 10 ranked fighter in the division, Dom. I said it after her last win against Molly McCann, I'm pretty sure. I wanted her to bypass everybody. I'm like, just send her to the
Yeah.
top.
Yep.
Have her fight one of these top three. And I remember you were like, oh, I don't know, maybe we give her
Yep.
one more and then take her there, which is
Yep.
a perfectly reasonable, argument to have because we've seen people in similar positions to her,
Right.
maybe with not as much evidence of her being excellent, but we've seen similar fighters in these positions where they get pushed way too quick
Yeah.
and then they get exposed
Yeah.
and then they just never recover.
Yep.
That could happen here. I'm fully putting myself on a limb, but I think that's fun. I think that's what you have to do when we have this kind of um, not saying you have to do it. I mean, you're saying believe it when you see it. I'm just saying that if I feel that way, I gotta let it out because even if it kind of makes me look silly later, like I also can say I was ahead of the curve if it goes my way. So
Yeah. Dude, I'm trying to think of like recent instances with young prospects like Aaron in this type of situation, specifically a main event against a top 3 fighter. And I
yeah,
can't really even think
it's
of any the past couple of years. So Aaron Blanchfield has proved to be a special talent. A win here. Wow. Wow.
that's a good point. I don't know. I'm sure there is an example. The first fighter I thought of is Johnny Walker, but he got exposed on the prelims of a pretty big pay-per-view
Yeah.
against Corey Anderson. He hadn't quite gotten to like fight night main event, you
Maybe
know.
like
I don't know.
when
Like,
Edmund Shabazian lost, was that a main event?
yes, that's a great example.
That's
He fought
probably the
Derek
only other
Brunson.
one.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Derek Brunson in that main event. That's
Yeah.
a great example. That is something I could see happening
Yeah.
here. If Andrade just steamroll Blanchfield, the striking difference just too
Yeah.
much, and she just gets put down in less than 5 minutes.
Right.
I could definitely see that being the case here. That's sort of, I mean, Shabazian, I think it went longer, but you get my point.
Right. Well, you saw
This
what
is a
happened with him though after.
that's really, I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought that up. This is a rare
Yeah,
kind of
it is.
fight,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of pressure for the younger fighter here in Blanchfield. Andrade really, some people may argue me on this. I don't think there's really like any pressure for her to take for this fight. Like,
No,
actually,
I
I
don't.
saw some people saying that whoever is, I guess, the manager or whatever for Blanchfield, that they should have told her not to take this fight because this is her
Mm,
first main event opportunity. She is someone with so much potential that so many people believe in. She had it been preparing for a
yeah.
completely different fighter in Taylor Santos. Yes, Andrade's taken on short notice, but I, like a lot of people believe, Andrade's one of the best fighters in multiple weight classes. That maybe it was ill advised for her to continue into this main event,
Hmm.
but it could prove off or yeah, it could
Payoff.
pay off
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah. Absolutely. That what do we always say when we want main events for fight nights? We want storylines. We want
Mm.
things to talk about come Monday. That's what this is.
So I take it by your kind of at least quiet hesitancy, not to expect any action on this fight on your bet slip. Is that
The
what you're telling me?
damn sure not picking a winner. I am very intrigued with a fight line or not to go the distance, though. I think the winner of this fight gets a
Mm,
stoppage. I really
okay.
do. Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a good bet, you know.
Mm.
Both have been, I mean, they've just been murking everybody. So
It's just in the way that they just clash, man. Like Andrade's just such a bully in there, so she could obviously put Erin away with the striking. But say she's not truly prepared for 25 minutes, and Erin is. If Erin can get her down once, twice, three times, I just feel like over the course of some rounds, she can get a finish on the ground. Someone's getting a big finish in this fight. I feel it.
and
I just don't know who.
Andrade's style, like very rarely has she lost a decision because she doesn't go to a lot of decisions. And
Yeah,
in her losses, it seems like when she's down, she tends to go for it. Like
yeah,
she recognizes that. You saw that when she fought Rose in Fight Island, the
yeah,
rematch, where she was down on the cards 2-0 going into that third and battered Rose in that third round trying to get a finish. So
yeah.
um time will tell. We will see on Monday how silly we look or I look.
Hmm.
So